In this session, I'm going to dive deeper into outsourcing and talk specifically about how to use our outsourcing recruiter, Hazel. That's one of your benefits you get with the viral site system. So I'm going to set some expectations. I'm going to teach you a little bit more detail than I did in the previous video about outsourcing. So if you are interested in outsourcing and scaling your business, this is a video that you need to watch. So I'm going to be talking about how outsourcing works, a little bit more detail than I did in the previous video, setting your expectations, where to outsource. I have some updated information from the last video. I'm going to talk about how to use our recruiter Hazel and how to hire and pay your workers. So I really want to make sure we set the expectations of everybody. You need to understand that when you outsource, you are the boss. Now, most people don't understand this because most people, we are trained, at least in the US, to be like you're a worker, okay? And then other people are the bosses. So we're almost trained as we're young to go get a job and that you're going to have a boss. And so now you are now in charge of your business, and it's so awesome and liberating, but it's also a new experience for a lot of people. So before I talk about this next topic, I want you to know that you call the shots, you're in charge, you are in charge of hiring your worker and doing that, all right? No one's gonna do it for you. You have to understand that you're the boss, you call the shots, and that's awesome. Here's the thing, you need to understand how the system works, how you write articles. I've had some people say, well, I don't like to write articles. That's fine. You still need to learn how to do it. You still need to learn about the titles, because how would you expect to be able to lead a team or even have anyone that you outsource with be able to help them and lead them and guide them if you don't understand how to do it yourself? There are people out there that sell courses that say, hey, you can just give this course to an outsourced worker and they'll do it all for you. And that is completely false. That does not work. All right, so you have to have at least a basic understanding, if not that, an intermediate understanding of how it works, and do it yourself a little bit or a lot, and then you can start outsourcing and scaling. You've got to manage your team. You're responsible for hiring your people. We've had a few people that have sent in support tickets asking us to hire people for them. And that's actually not what we can do. We would not ever hire someone for you. We will help you vet some of these people, and I'll talk about that here in just a minute. We can't hire the people for you, but we do have a recruiter that'll help you weed through the clutter, because there's a lot of people out there that are not qualified, and we're pretty good at finding the ones and pointing you in the right direction. But at the end of the day, you're going to need to be the one that makes that decision, and just kind of use some of your judgment as well. And I'll talk about that. So Hazel is our recruiter that we have access to, who recruits people in the Philippines. And she's a great resource, and I'll talk about how that works here in just a little bit. But I want to talk a little bit more about where to outsource, because in my previous video I talked about this, but I want to hit it again because we've had some additional questions on this. So we love the Philippines, and the reason we love the Philippines is there's a lot of people that speak English. It's not their first language. Well, it kind of is their first language, but it's a different type of English. And they also, many of them speak many other dialects as well. But they're very Americanized over there. So their English sounds different. However, I could show you people in the Philippines where they sound just like Americans, okay? Or Australians. It's like pretty amazing actually, because they actually will go to school, class, they'll watch TV, and they'll learn to talk like, you know, people that they want to talk to. But they think a lot like, you know, because a lot of us are targeting, you know, English countries, they think a lot like that. Different than, say, like India. I love India. I've got lots of great friends in India. It's just a different thought process out there. It's just cultures are different out there. Philippines are closer to our culture. And so when I'm talking about building, you know, sites targeting US, Canada, Australia, UK. But you need to understand it's not going to be perfect. They're going to use words that you and I usually don't use. They'll say things like, sir, ma'am. They'll use different words. Now, sometimes it'll be off-putting, and when they do it in the articles, it's a little annoying. So you'll have some people that talk differently, but when they write more like Americanized or British English or Australian English. How much do you pay for a full-time worker in the Philippines? Well, you're going to expect at least $300 to $500 a month for someone that's really good. In fact, there might be some that are even more than that. Now, you could pay bottom dollar prices. You can find people that hire them for $200, $250 a month. There's a chance, good chance, they probably won't be very reliable for you. You have to really think about that. So in the Philippines, to make about $500 a month is like the equivalent of here in the US making about $2,500 a month. Maybe so you that's still kind of on the low end. There are high-end workers out there like IT guys, server guys, they make about $900 to $1,000 a month. Now, you will probably find some really good people for even higher than this for $900, $1,000 a month. Now, that's not saying you have to go hire them. I would start out in this $300 to $500 range. Now, how much could they produce in that? A full-time worker should easily be able to do 4 articles a day. That's working 8 hours a day, and that's 2 hours per article. Now, you'll see that when they get really good, some of them will be able to do more than that. But it also depends on the quality of the article. Just remember, one article can be one of your huge profit streams and can bring you thousands of dollars. So I think realistically 4 to 5 articles is realistic. That includes the research, the posting the pictures, and if people are doing less than that, then they're usually not qualified for this. Here's another place. I've got a good friend that owns the Doggington Post. Let me show you guys his site. Doggington Post. Let me just bring it up in the searches. So I've got another friend that does this. He has the Doggington Post, and it's a very popular site. In fact, I'm going to probably try to get him to jump on a webinar with us one of these days. All of his articles are written by people from Israel. And I had a conversation with him the other day. In Israel, there are many Americans who grew up here in the US, but they've moved back to Israel. And they need work. And they are perfect writers, great English speakers. I mean, that's their main language. You're going to pay more for them, though. So when I talked to him, he said a good writer for a 2,000-word article is going to be about $25 per article. So this is kind of a newer territory for us. I may try to get my buddy on the line, and maybe we can do a little webinar and talk about different writers in Israel. But you also kind of get what you pay for. If you go check out Doggington Post and look at some of his posts, and they've done like tremendous job on here on a lot of these posts. So, and he said, when I talked to him, he said that he requires perfect articles for $25. All right. The other type of people you can outsource, and I talked about this before, but stay-at-home moms. There's a lot of moms out there, even retirees, who just would love to do some work. Maybe pay them per article, maybe part-time work. However you do it, if you pay them per article or if you pay them a certain amount, always require a certain amount of deliveries, a certain amount of articles. Don't ever pay someone a set amount and then not expect them to deliver such and such articles. So stay-at-home moms, retirees, remember family members is another great thing. To outsource it to your kids if you can. So those are just some. I know in the mastermind we'll talk about some more, and if any of you know of some great places you've outsourced in the past, please share that with us. Let's talk about how to use our recruiter, because a lot of people are interested in this, how we actually do this, how this actually works. So we already talked about setting the expectations. So now let me show you the process of how to use our recruiter. So the first thing you need to understand is to use our recruiter, Hazel. My buddy John Jonas owns onlinejobs.ph. And so to get an account, you can get a free account, but and you can post resumes, but to respond to people, he makes you get a subscription. I don't know, I think it's like $40 a month. Now you can cancel that subscription once you've found your worker. So if anyone thinks you have to have this subscription, you don't. He has some upsells and stuff. He tries to teach you about like outsourcing to the Philippines and different things like that. You don't necessarily need to get that because you can learn that here inside the system. So if you want to go grab account, it's viralsitesystem.com/outsource. So the deal with John is this: if you want to use Hazel, you gotta go grab an account, and I'll show that here in a second. So again, you go into online jobs, you go in, and you can go post a job, and like I said, it's free to do that, but it's $49 a month to be able to respond to them. So you can make that decision if you want to do that, but to use Hazel, that is a requirement to actually get a paid account, because we have to pay Hazel and he has to pay Hazel, and it takes her time. So it's just not free. This is not a service I own. I don't own onlinejobs.ph. So it's just kind of the deal that I reached out to John. I said, hey, we've got a lot of people, and he said, well, we've got Hazel. So let me tell you what Hazel can do for you guys. She cannot, let me tell you what she can't do. She cannot hire for you. She's not going to say, hey, I've hired someone for you. What she does have is she has a certain number of vetted workers that she kind of keeps, that she knows about. And they're not always available, but sometimes they're available, and they become available at different times. And so she passes those on to us from time to time, and we can pass them on to people that are looking for workers. But at the end of the day, and then the other thing is we can have her look at some of the resumes to give us the recommendations. So let's backtrack a little bit. You go post a job, you get respondents, you go through it, you contact them, you give them tests, and I'll talk about that here in a second. And then if you want to, you can pass it over to Hazel, and she will look at the resume, and sometimes can even contact some of these people just to do a little vetting session. How do you do that? Well, you create a support ticket through the Viral Site System support, and you just put the subject Hazel. Now, if you do that, that means that you have an online jobs account, and that you are you have a paid account, and that you've submitted a job posting. I'll talk about that here in a second. Actually, let me talk about it right now. You post a job. We've got a document here that you can use to post your job. Now, I would recommend that you modify this a little bit for you, but this is a template that you can use. So you post your job, you get your people responding, you communicate with them, and then if you want to pass some of these resumes on to Hazel, create a support ticket in viralsitesystem.com with the subject of Hazel. So by doing that, we've assumed that you've already done those things, and that you posted your job, and that you have gone ahead and taken some time to filter through them, and then we take them to Hazel, and then you got to give us, a couple, 2-3 days during business days to be able to go ahead and get those back and forth. Remember, there's a time delay. We're on the other side of the world of Hazel, so when we get these, there's, get in touch with them. So please be patient when you do that. But then she'll come back and kind of let you know which one she likes better and that. But at the end of the day, how you are going to do this is you want to give someone a test. All right? So what I would do is this. You are going to pay this person to do the test. Number one, you're wondering to yourself, well, how am I going to pay my outsourcers? Well, number one, you don't hire anyone if they don't have a PayPal account. Most Filipinos that are serious about outsourcing have PayPal accounts. A lot of them still don't. I don't even mess with it if they don't have PayPal accounts. If they don't have PayPal accounts, that usually shows me that they're kind of not hungry enough and serious enough to do work. All right? So only hire people that have a PayPal account. The other thing what I would do is then I would say, once you've vetted them, say, okay, I'd like to give you a test. I'd like to have you write 3 articles. And I'll pay you for each one of those articles. If you write the articles. Take the time to do it. Don't worry, I will pay you for the test. And then I would pay them like, tell them I want 600-word articles and a good photo. And then say I'll pay you $7 per article. Now this is just for a test. Maybe you've put in your thing that you're willing to pay a certain range for a full time, but say I'll be willing to pay you per article, but they've got to be good articles. So what I would do is I would say, give them the challenge. I'd take them to little things. I'd give them like 3 websites and say, I want an article like the kind you see on this website, littlethings.com. What I want you to find a viral article, and like, don't even tell them where to go find the viral article. See if they can think outside of the box. But say, this is the kind of article that I'm looking for. About 600 words, 300 to 600 words. I want you to write a good title that's going to capture people's attention. I want you to write an article that's going to capture their attention and get them interested in reading. And I want you to find a good photo that's going to draw people in. And you know, maybe shoot them a couple examples. You can go into the life category here and look at some of this. And you can kind of show them, this is kind of the things that you're looking for. You can take them to BuzzFeed. How about we go to BuzzFeed and say, hey, I want you to write me 3 articles. And you know, give them an actual article. There's a promoted article. 24 moms that are way too pure and wholesome for this world, you know, or 16 people who you never trust again for anything, you know. So show them a couple of these examples and say, these are what I'm looking for. I'm looking for articles like this. And then just give them a test and say, hey, listen, I'll pay you for the test. Just give me the articles, create a Google document, maybe share it with them, and just say, hey, when you're done, give me these 3 articles, and then we can go from there. Now, if you want to go to the next level and you say, okay, I've got my articles, post it in the forums and say, hey, this is what they gave me. What do you guys think? Or send in a support ticket to us, and we can kind of give you some feedback as well. We can even pass some of these on to Hazel. So that's kind of the process. You've got to spend a little time finding these people and vetting them out. We'll help you vet some of them out. And again, like I said, from time to time, we're going to actually have some people that Hazel can throw down the pipeline, and we'll definitely let people know when those are available. So between your resources, our recruiters' resources, we should be able to find some really, really good article writers. Now, I want to say one last thing about your writers. You know, you understand that you're asking them to work for you. And so you want to make sure that they feel assured that you're actually going to pay them and that you're actually going to be there more than just like a month down the road. If someone, they might be turning down other jobs to work for you. So you still got to be the boss. You got to be strict. You got to make sure that they're going to actually do the work for you, but you need to reward them and pay them and let them know that they've got some long-term security as long as they keep producing for you and giving you good work. And that's the one thing that I would say, because nobody wants to go work for someone and then a month later they say, yeah, I'm not going to do this anymore. So I would say only do this, only outsource if you have really kind of committed. I always kind of like, once you hire somebody, tell them, hey, you know, your first 6 months is kind of a trial. You can kind of, you know, it can kind of let you go at any time. 6 months, but after that, you know, it's a lot more serious there and I'm more committed. You've already shown me that you can do this. And you'll know in just like 2 or 3 weeks if that person is going to work out or not long term. Well, alrighty, everybody. I hope you are excited about outsourcing. There is a little work involved to actually get to that point. But I think most of you here understand that and understand that the power of leveraging yourself, and it might take a little work to help find someone, but once you've got that one person, then now you've really put those pieces in your system and you can really start cranking out a lot of content and you can start focusing on other parts of your business. Alrighty guys, any other questions? Let us know below this video or in the forums, and we'll see you on another session. Bye-bye.